Chairman, Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you for getting something accomplished in less than 100 days that I've been trying to do for 2 years. And that is to get rid of a program that has never existed since the time someone lent someone seashells to buy a cave. That's the VASP program. The Veterans Affairs Administration under the previous administration decided to take on $17 billion worth of debt without conferring with Congress. And to me, that should be unlawful. Let me explain what the VASP program is for those people that are not on me and Chris's subcommittee. The Veterans Affairs Administration in the previous administration decided to start buying home loans and reducing the interest rate. So if it was at 7.5%, the VA would buy the loan from a lending institution, lower the interest rate to 2.5%, and they spend an average of $360,000 per home. They did this up to the tune of $17 billion. The amount of money the average veteran was in arrears was $25,000. So it was a $25,000 problem that was solved with a $360,000 solution. And that's how the previous administration ran the VA. And Dennis McDonough was a friend of mine, and I actually respect him tremendously. But that was just foolish and wrong. So in 99 days, or whatever the heck it is, you got rid of that, and I thank you tremendously for doing that. That showed really incredibly bold leadership. And we're getting arrows from this, right? Well, guess what? I'm gonna give all of my Democrat colleagues the opportunity to help rectify what they're talking about today, because HR 1815 will be on the floor next week. So I would encourage everyone to put their money where their mouth is and vote for that partial claim thing. You don't want someone to get kicked out of their house, vote for HR 1815 or stop talking. That's all I'm gonna say to everybody about that. So here's what happened. Mr. Secretary, I had my crack graphics team draw this up so I can explain to some people what's going on. Here it is right there. That's the whole VA. This is the problem with the VA, okay? This is the increase in bureaucrats. These are the doctors. It's almost a flat line. And then we have an increase with the veterans because of the PAC Act, right? So when we are gonna cut the VA, and I hope you do, sir, this is where you need to make the cut, right there, in this line, right there, sir. Mr. Secretary, if you cut this, then this line with the doctors and stuff, the people that are actually touching our veterans and providing care can go like this, right? And then we can match the increase with vets. So, Mr. Secretary, I'm incredibly happy and looking forward to working with you and your administration. And if there's anything, just if you have a top line item that we can do from the congressional side, power of the purse and all that stuff, if you could, rattle off one or two of them, it'd be great. We will write these down and we'll take it for action. Mr. Secretary?
Thank you, Congressman. I think one of the things you mentioned there at the end is something that's very important, because it's also been one of the most misconstrued and also used to scare veterans and also scare employees concerning what we're looking at in regards to a reorganization of staff and how we look at this. As I stated earlier, we have 465,000 as of today in our total VA organization. What is interesting about that is in VHA there's 409,000, there's 34,000 in VBA, and there's 2,400 in NCA, which is our cemetery account. You know what's interesting? We have 16,375 in the central office who are not are doing policy, doing other things. And by the way, most of them are not actually showing up at 810 Vermont or somewhere else. They're not showing. So what the question becomes
Mr. Secretary,
is,
I'm sorry, will you say that number again, just so people can understand the scope of this, the ludicrousness of this bureaucracy?
Just at central office, and this has nothing also to do with some of the other levels that are built into these numbers that I've talked about. It was a 16,375. Yeah, so as we look at this, the question becomes is not are we, where are we at with our programs? As I stated earlier, we have 28,000 physicians, we have 91,000 nurses, but also one of the things I did not mention on the GAO report was this: veteran numbers not changed. We're still looking at 9 million veterans every year. That's the enrollment, 9 million for the last 10 years. It's been the same. Yes, PACT Act shot up, PACT Act gave us some more, but here's the interesting thing. We got total number 985,000 that came to new enrollees in PACT Act, and that's not just for PACT, that's all enrollees, 985,000 in the last couple of years. and our number still stayed at 9.1 million. The reason is because over 2 years, we also lose 400,000 veterans in this country every year. So you may add 900,000, but you're also decreasing 400,000 each year on 2 years, so 400, 400. You're basically drawing even here. Our total veterans in this country have dropped from about 4 million in the last 10 years. We're dealing in a circumstance here in which you can't really justify the layers of bureaucracy. And let me give an example, if you don't mind, Congressman, about this.
Please do.
One of the issues that we have, and just to show you where again, when somebody says, oh, you're going to cut dollars, I actually saw this article again today, and somebody thinks that in one hospital, we're going to cut 15% of everybody in that hospital. That's just stupid, wrong, and I don't want to hear it again. Okay? That's just not the way this goes about. You're looking at an organizational structure. But here's the interesting issue. I told you earlier, when I first came in, I couldn't get an actual count of our employees because our HR system was not set up the way we could to get an employee count. And nobody in here has been in the military could understand that concept, but that's what happened. The other issue that we had is then we went to payroll and said, payroll, how many people do we have? Payroll came back at centralized, which is our centralized payroll system, which was supposed to be implemented. Again, this is all oversight stuff that has not been, for the last few years. Is looking at it was supposed to be centralized. They said we had 230,000 employees. And I said, and even our guy said, we got more than 230,000 employees. Come to find out that there was a permissive attitude that allowed roughly 60 of our hospitals to continue to do their own payroll with multiple hundreds of people involved in that process. We have contracting. That it's all over the country, none of it centralized, all of it doing different things, and you have difference of opinion between even hospitals on how they actually do purchasing. Again, tens of thousands of people. We also have human resources that is all done in this.
Mr. Secretary, I just have a couple seconds.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing. I want every single person that has served this country, is serving this country, or feels like they want to serve in the future to have access to the Veterans Affairs Administration Home Loan Guarantee Program. And by shutting down this disastrous VASP program, you accelerated that. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.